welcome to Variant One Shot. Before we get into who is the fastest Flash, I want to let you guys know that I'll be hanging out at the Lost Toys in Dallas, Texas next Saturday, January 28th. And while there, I'll be selling a bunch of collectibles and action figures from my personal collection. Because Daddy bought way too much stuff. I'll have lots of DC and Marvel stuff, most of which have never been opened, and there's going to be pieces as cheap as $10. So whether you want to snatch up some collectibles or not, be sure to stop by. I'm always down to chat with anyone and everyone. I'll be there from noon to 5 p.m. You can find the address and all the details in the description below. So I hope to see you on January 28th. Now let's get into today's episode. People have been asking me forever to do an episode on who is the fastest Flash. And since The Flash returns on CW this coming Tuesday, I thought it was a great time to do just that. One thing I do want to add is that I'm not going to include villain speedsters into this discussion. Other than that, let me get right to the point by saying I think everyone would agree it really comes down to Barry or Wally. As many of us know, Barry Allen created the Speed Force as revealed in Geoff Johns' Flash Rebirth comic, so because of that alone, a lot of people might assume that Barry is the fastest Flash. But any of you who might be thinking that would be wrong. The fastest Flash is actually Wally West. And before you start typing your angry comment of disagreement, let me tell you why. When Barry sacrificed his life in order to defeat the Anti-Monitor, Wally took over as the new Flash. As the new Flash, Wally struggled with limiting his speed to avoid getting sucked into the Speed Force like Barry did. He also didn't want to be faster than Barry just out of respect. So for a long time, he had a mental block regarding his speed. He wanted Barry to get all the glory since Barry gave his life to save the world. But over time, Wally let loose and really showed everyone just how fast he could be. Now you're thinking, that's all fun and dandy, Arris, but how about some examples, please? Well, for instance, Barry has been shown struggling to break the time barrier, but good old Wally West did it with no problem, like the time in Flash Rebirth after Barry was finally released from the Speed Force by Thawne, and then re-entered the Speed Force to get rid of Black Flash, but was too slow to get back out, saying all I need is a little push. And then boom, just like that, Wally West to the rescue. Not only was Wally capable of exiting the Speed Force by himself, he also helped Barry in the process. Basically, if you look at the fastest moments of Flash over the years in comics, most of them have been done by Wally West Flash. Like when Wally West Flash raced to the end of time and outran death itself. Wally was also the first Flash to achieve Nirvana within the Speed Force, which is essentially a heavenly status for the Speed Force. He also ran back to Earth faster than aliens could teleport, proving that he's faster than teleportation, which is essentially instant. In DC's Rebirth Flash issue 9, when asked for words of wisdom on working with Barry, the original Wally West says to the new Wally, "How about this? One day you're going to challenge the Flash to a race. You're young, so you won't be able to help yourself, and he's going to let you win. It's just who the Flash is. Don't let him. You learn to beat him fair and square, okay? It'll be worth it. Trust me." That last part where he says, "It'll be worth it, trust me," tells you everything you need to know. Wally is saying, in a roundabout way, I learned to become faster than Barry. Those are just a handful of examples of his speed, but Wally also has a few abilities that other Flashes don't. Such as Speed Steal, meaning he can steal speed from any object, person, or speedster minus Barry and Thawne, since Barry created the Speed Force and Thawne created the Negative Speed Force. Wally can even share his speed with anyone he wants, which is awesome. And lastly, just for kicks and giggles, I shot an email over to my buddy and current writer of The Flash and Justice League vs. Suicide Squad, Josh Williamson, and asked him to give me a quote on who is the fastest Flash. Because who would know better than the current writer of The Flash? And this is what he had to say, friends. Quote, "I think currently Barry has the most skill with speed itself. He knows and understands the science, but Wally under Jeff and Mark, Wally took the most time studying and exploring the Speed Force itself. He could really cut loose and get really fast. I suppose I'll have to make them race at some point in my run on the book, and then we'll have a solid answer." End quote. So he didn't really give us a solid answer, but that's because it looks like he's going to have them race at some point during his run, and settle it once and for all. Even though Josh is the one who wrote the Flash issue where Wally said, "You'll learn to beat Barry, and it'll be worth it, trust me." Which seems to be a hint at who will win when he makes them race, if you ask me. But I could be wrong. But until that happens and we get a solid answer for the new DC Rebirth era, I'd say that even though Barry created the Speed Force and is basically the fuel for it, Wally West showed the most pure speed under writers Geoff Johns and Mark Waid, thus Wally having the most impressive feats of speed over the years in comics. So to me, all signs point to Wally West being the fastest Flash. I know it doesn't really make much sense with Barry having created the Speed Force, but hey, such is comic books.